Hey fifth graders, it's Miss Bishop. We're gonna look at subtracting from a whole. You guys have your assessment, so I just wanna make sure you're ready. You can open up your notebook to that note page we have and make sure you take a look at this before you do those questions on your Google Classroom. Here we go. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so let's look at the fraction subtracting 2 3/8 away from 9 wholes. So that means we're taking 2 3/8 away from 9 wholes. So one of the methods we talked about in class is that we can model that, and that's probably the easiest way to do that. So to model that, we would draw 9 wholes. Okay, and then we're going to be subtracting 2 3/8 from it. Well, it's easy to take away 2 wholes because we can just take 2 of these wholes away, right? But it's a little bit more tricky when we have to take 3/8 away, because what we're going to have to do is take one of these wholes and break it up into 8 parts, because that's our denominator. So I'm going to make this whole in 8 parts. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. And we're going to take 3 of those parts away. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3 parts away. So I started with 9 wholes and I took away 2 3/8 away. So my answer is going to be whatever's left over, whatever I didn't cross out. So let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wholes, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eighths. So this is only 5/8, because remember we had to take 3/8 away from it. So that means when I have 9 wholes and I subtract 2 3/8, I have 6 5/8 left over. So this is a really effective strategy when you're subtracting from a whole. Okay. Another way that you could model this is with a number line. Okay, and this number line is going to be a little bit small. I mean, the whole number isn't going to be tight, but we'll figure it out. So we know we're going to be subtracting from 9 wholes, and we're basically going all the way back to 2 wholes. So in between there, we have 3 wholes, 4 wholes, 5 wholes, 6 holes, 7 holes, and 8 holes. Okay, so we're starting at 9, and then we're subtracting 2 3/8 from 9. And there's lots of different ways you can think about this, but the easiest way is to kind of map out where would 2 3/8 go. Well, I know this point right here is going to be 2 1/2. It's probably hard to see. Or it would be 2 4/8, because 2 1/2 or 2 4/8 would be halfway between 2 and 3. So that means 2 3/8 would be right around here. So 2 3/8 would be right around here. Well, we would figure out, well, how many eighths does it take to get to 3 wholes? Well, I know it takes 1/8 to get to 4/8, and I know 4/8 is halfway between 2 and 3, so it must take another 4/8 to get to 3 wholes. So basically, between 2 3/8 and 3 wholes, that space right there would be 5/8. And then the rest is pretty easy. So I know from 2/8 to 3 is 5/8. So then we have 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes, 4 holes, 5 holes, and 6 holes. So there are 6 holes and 5/8 of a whole away from 2 3/8. So once again, we're showing that answer 6 5/8. Okay, now there's lots of other ways we can do this. And the other way that we talked about in class is we can ungroup holes. And that's what this looks like. So we'll see what this looks like. So we have 9 and we're subtracting 2 3/8. So we basically set this up like a regular subtraction problem. But like any subtraction, you can't take away nothing from, you can't take, if you have something to take away, you have to have something to take away from. So just like a regular subtraction, we're going to have to ungroup that whole to have something to subtract from. Well, the way we can group this whole is we can take a whole. So we had 9 holes, now we have 8 holes. And what we can take is that whole and make it parts. So we're going to take that whole and we're going to make parts, and we're going to make 8/8. So we still have 9 holes because 8 holes plus 8/8 is 9 holes. But now what we've done is we've been able to have something to subtract 3/8 away from. So we had 9 holes. We're taking a whole to make 8/8. So 8 and 8/8 is the same thing as 9. So basically we're just renaming 9. So now we just have to subtract. 8/8 minus 3/8 is 5/8. And 8 minus 2 is 6. So once again, we get 6 and 5/8. Okay. And then finally, a method that students like to do is to make their fractions into decimals. And that is a really great strategy as well. So we have 9 holes minus 2 and 3/8. Well, 9 is a whole number, so we're just going to make 9.0. And then we have 2 and 3/8. Well, how do we make 3/8 a decimal? Well, we make 3/8 a decimal by doing a little bit of division, and I'm just going to get some side paper, scratch paper right here to do that. So we're going to do 3/8, and we know 3/8 is the same thing as 3 divided by 8. So 3 divided by 8. I'm going to annex some zeros here to make sure we have some digits to divide with. So 8 goes into 3 0 times. 8 goes into 30 3 times. There we go. 8 times 3 is 24. 30 minus 24 is 6. Bring down our 0. 8 goes into 60. 7 times 8 is 56. Subtract, we get 4. We're still going to keep annexing a 0 because we like to figure out if our decimal division goes on forever, repeats, or stops. So 8 can go into 45 times, and that's beautiful because now we don't have a remainder. And I'm just going to bring up my decimal. So the decimal for 3/8 is 0 and 375 hundredths. So we can actually use that to do our decimal division, subtraction here. So I'm going to take 3/8, and instead of writing 3/8, I'm going to write 375 thousandths. So 2 and 375 thousandths is the same thing as 2 and 3/8, just written as a decimal. Now, we're going to have to do some subtraction, but can't do that until we put some placeholders here so we have something to subtract from. So now I can do my subtraction. So I'm going to take a whole, make 10 tenths. I'm going to take a tenth, make 10 hundredths, take a hundredth, and make 10 thousandths. And now I'll be able to subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 7 is 2. 9 minus 3 is 6. And 8 minus 2 is 6. Now you're probably wondering, well, how do I know what fraction 625 thousandths is? Well, we know that we're working with denominators that are eighths, and we can kind of use some logic to kind of think about this. So we know that 3/8 is 375 thousandths. So 625 thousandths is obviously going to be bigger than 3/8. And we know 4/8 is half of a whole. So 625 thousandths is a little bit bigger than a whole. So logically, it makes sense that 625 thousandths would be 6 5/8. Now, hold on one second. Now, are there different ways that you could do that? Of course, but those are some ways that we talked about in class. So definitely review these strategies before you take your assessment. Have fun with it. Take your time. No rush. We have all the time in the world. And let me know if you have any questions while you're working on those problems today. Thanks for being a part of my first video. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.